here, back at you with another video. I know it has been a while since I filmed a video, and I know that I told you guys in the last video that I was going to try to film more often, but I've been super busy recently and haven't had any time to do so. So here we are, filming another one. And in today's video, I'm going to be going over my completed Moebius Models 1970 Ford F-100 drag truck. A lot of work went into this truck, get it where it's at. Really happy with how it turned out, super happy with how it turned out. And can't wait to show it to you guys. This kit and a few other models that I've built and are building right now will be going to AtlantaCon in March in Marietta. So hopefully I'll get to see some of you guys there. But anyways, without further ado guys, we're going to get right on into the video. Alright guys, here we go. This is my 1970 Ford F-100 drag truck. As you guys can tell, it's definitely not kit stock. Like the last Moebius F-100 that I built, you know, for a long time I'd had ideas on building a completely tubbed, you know, twin turbo 2000 horsepower Coyote drag truck, and tossed around ideas for a long time how I wanted to try to pull it off, and you know, had no idea how to build you know, a drag truck or anything like that before. So this was a really unique learning experience for me in model building and really pushing the envelope a little bit further and doing something different. And again, this thing isn't perfect, and no model really is, but you know, nonetheless, I had a lot of fun building it, and it turned out, pretty much turned out being one of my favorites. So we'll get started. The engine is an Iceman Collections twin turbo Boss 302. The engine started out actually as just a regular Boss 302, and then I ordered the twin turbos separate and made the turbo kit, and you know, completely went crazy with it. To get this engine to fit the way I wanted it to fit, I ended up requiring a full firewall scratch build. I had to shift the firewall back about an inch, almost an inch, to get this engine and this turbo kit to go in the way I needed it to. The exhaust manifolds are made from two different sets of headers from Ron Olson over at Shapeways that I had to cut and blend to get the turbos to sit where I wanted them to. The biggest issue that I have with spacing was from the front of the engine to the back of the basically the core support up here. I knew that I needed enough room to get the intercooler and the radiator in place. So figuring out where the turbos were going to sit was absolutely critical in making sure that all this stuff lined up and that I could get everything to fit. I don't know how well you're going to be able to see. My lighting in here is not really the greatest. But we've got pulleys from offthesprue.com. They're a universal pulley set, and they're billet, machine billet, I believe. But the turbo kit uses an intercooler that I found on eBay. Not really sure who sells these or who even makes them. But if you guys have any questions or you're interested in the same intercooler, I can, I'm sure I can find another one. And then I just had to go in and build all the, make all the little, I guess, little V-bands where your charge piping and intake tubing, you know, connect to the intercooler. Speaking of charge piping, the charge pipe, the radiator hoses, and the compressor tubing or whatever that comes off the compressor housings of the turbo are all 0.125, I believe it's 0.125 soldering wire. Really close to what size you would see for something like this. I'm going to zoom down on this thing a little bit. Really close to the size you would see for something like that, for an application like this. And the cool thing about the soldering wire is it actually slides into the compressor housing, the opening on the compressor housing for the turbo. Literally just slid right into place. Like there may have been 0.02 of an inch, maybe 1/1000th of an inch difference between them. So I didn't even have to use any glue. They're just, you know, sleeved up in there. Obviously, you know, it's all locked down now because the intercooler and the exhaust manifolds aren't going anywhere. But yeah. So the turbos, like I said, are also from Iceman Collections. And they are his large turbo setup, or large turbos. And these are really nicely made turbos. They're resin printed, like everything this guy builds. I'm telling you guys, they're absolutely top notch. You will not find anybody that does this better than he does. Huge shout out to Iceman Collections for supplying a huge amount of parts that went into making this truck possible, like the engine, the turbos and stuff like that. He makes some really awesome stuff. For a lot of the smaller engine details like wiring, if you look back here on the front of the firewall, you will see that section of wire is actually the like the wiring harness for the radiator. For the wiring detail that I used under the hood and inside the interior, which you guys obviously aren't going to be able to see that on video, at least not the interior stuff. I got this little wiring set from I think it's like Michael's or some kind of hobby store or whatever, and it's just, you know, some little small assorted color wire that's on these little spools. If I can get the camera to focus on this stuff. All right. And maybe, I don't know. Anyways, these spools are like 9 to 10 feet of wire per spool. And you can really bring out some extra detail with this stuff. I'll link this stuff in the description below, along with Iceman Collections website and a couple other builder vendors that I used for this particular build. As you can see, I ran with the Iceman Collections blow-off valves, and they've all got the vacuum lines hooked up. Same with the wastegates, which have their own dump pipes per side. And those turned out really good. But yeah, all the wiring was using that little wiring setup. But we've got our catch can installed, and all the lines for that, some more coolant lines, and, you know, had to make some changes to the thermostat housing for the Coyote V8 to work with the particular application that I wanted to go with. A lot of 3D printed and scratch built stuff going on this truck, like the 3D printed brake rotors and calipers, and which, as you can see, are absolutely massive. I may have went a little overkill on the brakes for this truck, but yeah, they're there. And all of this is hooked up to a custom 3D printed front suspension setup. We'll move this right here out of the way. So for the transmission, I went with a Power Glide transmission, and this is all ran to a narrowed 4 to 9 inch rear end, both of which came from Ron Olson over at Shapeways, and I'll leave links to his Shapeways page in the description below. But all of this is sitting on a mostly scratch built chassis. Everything from about here to here is Iceman Collections, and then for my particular application, I had to scratch build everything from here back, and then from everything from here forward. But the rest of the scratch build stuff includes the crash bars up front, which are 3/32 inch metal tubing, along with, like, the exhaust is all scratch built. It's got a scratch-built 10-point roll cage inside, which I don't know how well you guys are going to be able to see the interior. It's a scratch-built switch box in there. It's got a completely scratch-built interior transmission tunnel, excuse me. A lot of scratch-built computer stuff going on board. Like the main computer, boost controller, stuff like that is all scratch-built out of styrene. And then I used that same wiring kit from earlier to just to dress it up a little bit and get the realism that I wanted out of it. The wing, the drag wing, is also scratch built out of plasticard or styrene, whatever you guys want to call it. And the struts are from Ron Olson as well. And then the parachute came from 3D scale parts, and all I had to do was make a bracket for it to sit on. And then the as you can see, the release cable in there, and then the actual catch cable or whatever this is called. I made that out of Magic Sculpt. For the hood, it uses a 6-inch cowl hood scoop from Competition Resins. It was my first attempt at trying to completely mold a hood scoop or any kind of body panel. And I'm pleased with how it turned out. And I know you can see a little line through there, but that's from the Tamiya putty actually shrinking a little bit after I painted the hood. When this was in primer, it was completely smooth, but after it dried and I went back and noticed that little line in it, I'm not too bothered by it. It actually looks kind of natural, like it's supposed to be there. And then all I had to do from there was cut the holes out so that the turbos, you know, had clearance, because obviously these turbos are huge. And you know, I didn't set them real low. I wanted them to stick out so that you had a real nice aggressive looking turbo setup. But the list of other stuff that you can't see on the truck that's all either 3D printed or scratch built is mainly just stuff that, like I said before, is in the interior that you're not going to be able to see. The seats are 3D printed. Let's take this hood back off, back the camera back up, and see if we can get a look at the seats. You're not really sure. You can't really see them with the lighting that I've got right now. I got to get a different light setup going in here. But the seats are 3D printed racing seats, and I use some photo etch seat belts that I found on eBay. They're, I think, Sabelt or however the heck it is you pronounce that word, but they're 5-point harnesses, and the shoulder harnesses are ran to the back of the cage like they're supposed to be for a competition truck or any kind of competition vehicle. And yeah, that's about gonna wrap it up. Oh, another thing to go over too, the tires and wheels, which is another really big part of the build. The wheels are made by a guy on Facebook who runs a company called Skinner Racing Products, and these are actually slot car wheels, and they're called drag lights, I guess is what I think he told me they're called. They are machined wheels, pretty expensive wheels, not gonna lie, but they are of just the absolute best quality you could ever hope of having for a build like this. Definitely better than the plastic drag wheels that you'll get in basically like a box stock kit, you know, that you get out of the box. Definitely add a much nicer aesthetic to things, and they look really cool. The front tires are Revell's Goodyear front runner tires, and then the back tires are Future Attraction 16x33 drag slicks, and they're one-piece rubber tire, unlike the two-piece rubber tires that you get from Revell, where you have that really nasty, ugly seam line along the sidewall on the inside. So yeah, it's pretty much going to wrap it up for the F-100 drag truck. This is all part of a group of models that I'm going to be taking to, hopefully be taking to the Atlanticon show in Marietta, Georgia in March on the 19th. So hopefully you guys get to see this truck sitting out there on the table. I'm sure it's not going to win any awards or anything like that, because it's great from afar, but far from great. I'm happy with how it turned out, though. And that's all that matters. You know, don't build for other people's enjoyment. Build for your own. But like I said, this truck is going to be part of a little drag weekend group that I'm building to take with me. I'll be using this Aoshima 1/24th scale. I believe it's a 24th scale. Brian James car hauler, and it's getting a few minor modifications like bigger tires and wheels, because the tires and wheels that come on this kit are tiny. They're no bigger than the size of the hubs that I've got for it, basically. But you know, and then I'm doing this little spare tire mount and stuff like that. But the truck will sit on this trailer, and it'll be hauled behind this, which will be featured in another video. And this is another big build that I just finished up. It is a 1974 Ford F-350 tow rig with a 12-valve Cummins 6BT turbo diesel in it. But this will be, like I said, will be in another video. It'll actually be, more than likely be the next video. Got a lot of stuff to go over with that truck as well. So yeah, that's pretty much going to do it for the video on the 1970 F-100 drag truck. If you guys enjoyed the video, please be sure to like, comment, and share. Feel free to subscribe to the channel, turn on post notifications so you guys get notified every time I upload a new video. And I look forward to seeing you guys in the next one. Take care. Yeah!